Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of On the Record here at Out on That Line. I'm Alex, joined as always by my co-host Tanner. Tanner, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm banged up from being in Nashville for way too long, but I'm excited and ready to dive in a nice deep dive on another record that's very close, near and dear to our hearts.
Absolutely. And we would also love to welcome back to the program. You've seen him, you know him, you've been asking about him, we've been playing coy, but he is back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jeff. Jeff, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm feeling very excitable this evening about the record that we're going to talk about. I honestly can't believe it's taken this long on the podcast to do this album. It kind of, as soon as it was mentioned, I felt like we were going to catch lightning in a bottle here. I'm pretty excited to do this one. Of course, we're talking about Excitable Boy by Warren Zevon. Now, this is a record that I think is overall a lot more influential than people realize. It's a very known for how well produced it is, but the method of songwriting, the method of production on this is at a level that other people just kind of weren't doing at this time period. Warren Zevon, I think, is maybe best described as like your favorite musician's favorite musician. As far as like his impact on songwriting, on kind of song structure, and like just kind of what you were allowed to say in a rock song, because there's certainly some things that are out there on this album here. It's just one I remember in my dad's basement, had it on vinyl, and would just listen to this album all the time. And then going back and listening to it in these last couple weeks to get ready for the show. Very excited for this one.
Yeah, so Tanner, I feel like you got to be like most people. We've never like really talked about this, but I feel like you have to be like most people. I think I speak for the majority of the world when I say like Warren Zevon, one thing comes to mind. Werewolves of London is the easy one. It's the first thing I heard as a kid, and it was at that point where your sense of object permanence, so to speak, in terms of like, I'm listening to this, I'm analyzing this, I'm logging this. This is a song that it's the werewolf song that someone played, and you weren't as enthusiastic about it as they wanted you to be. They're trying to share something. You're like, I'm 9. I don't give a shit about your werewolf song. That was like, at least for me, Warren Zevon up to a certain point. Then finding out my dad was a super Zevon guy, super Jackson Brown guy, and kind of dipping a toe from there. And then at some point, you and I converged on this, but I don't really know where you started from with Warren Zevon.
It would be Werewolves of London, hearing it on like classic rock stations as a kid. Like in my dad's truck, my mom's car, we always had like Camp 102.1 on the dial. And it was Werewolves of London. And then I kind of, didn't really realize I was getting into another Zevon song, Lawyers, Guns, and Money, because Meatloaf does a badass cover on VH1 Storytellers of it. Yeah. And when I started hanging out with Jeff and he got me into Meatloaf big time, I think I found that CD at Exile on Main Street in the used bin. And I knew most of the songs. Some of them were like his 90s Meatloaf stuff, which is kind of like
hit or miss.
But then
we can be kind,
like,
hit or miss.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this Lawyers, Guns, and Money song? And like Meatloaf and his band Rip It. And then I came to find out that was a Zevon song. So like through like, high school, early 20s, the two Zevon songs that I knew were those two. Like on my iPod, if you looked at my iPod back then, it would be Werewolves of London, probably with like a wrong lowercase or uppercase somewhere being downloaded off the internet. And Lawyers, Guns, and Money. And then I was working at Norwich at the time, and I was at work, and I don't know how the conversation came up. It was a text conversation between myself and Alex, and I was like, yeah, I'm really not that familiar with that much Zevon. And he was like, oh, you got to listen to this album like right now. And I sat at my desk, probably had some video project I was supposed to be working on, doesn't matter, and just put the headphones in and listened to Excitable Boy, and it was the top of my brain just like blew off. Like I'm a huge fan of like the kind of piano led pop rock, and Warren just does not get his credit as a piano player and as a songwriter. finally going into the Rock Hall this year. Way, way, way overdue. A little late for high fives on this one, guys. And yeah, from that point on, I just like dove into Zevon more. The self-titled album, which is like amazing and a masterpiece all on its own, but like Excitable Boy, I could sing you every line from like any song. Like it's ingrained in the DNA. Went out, I think that weekend, bought it on vinyl at Exile or Buxpeler in Montpelier. Like just like needed it, got it. And yeah, it's like it's like an anytime album. Oh, I'm on a long drive. I have 30 minutes left. Boom. Excitable will get me there, you know? And it's, you know, I'm glad that there's finally some more light getting shined on it, both by us and the fact that like Warren went into the hall and hopefully some more eyeballs and earballs are getting on this record, because you mentioned that the production is immense. It's got elements of Steely Dan in the fact of like the studio musicians that he used, and that it's a revolving door of guys on different songs. But the main crux is him, his guy Jorge Calderon, Danny Korchmar, Russ Kunkel, and then of course Jackson Brown and Waddy Wachtel splitting the production duties. And it was very cool to see Waddy Wachtel up there playing with the Killers when they honored Warren at the Rock Hall this year.
Yeah, and the Killers did a badass version of that,
with a great little ode to Werewolves of London. The little ooh teases were like very good. If it had been Werewolves of London, I'd tough. Like, and also, can we give Warren more than one friggin' song? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. He deserved more than one. I think you got to do both of them. You know, you could even do like Excitable Boy, like do the title.
Oh man.
But you know, for me, kind of the whole album, like Excitable Boy, it was kind of one of those things when I realized just what he was singing about, especially in a song like Excitable Boy. And for me, like back when I was young enough to, 12 or 13 or whatever, when I really started putting on the vinyls in the basement, when I heard that, it was just like shock value, like the same way that Eminem was shock value to me at that point in my life. It was just like, oh my God, I can't believe they said this. It was like the first time you heard someone say like fuck on a record. It was like just like that shock value. And then as you get older and you realize kind of the depth of the songwriting by Warren Zevon, that sort of song takes on a whole new meaning. And it's just, it's kind of like it's showing, obviously I don't want to go into like nitpicking the lyrics, but just talking about how a kid grows up. People notice kind of things that are off about him, but they just brush it off. An Excitable Boy, they all said, just like no big deal. And then he goes and rapes and kills a girl. And just hearing about, okay, now he was just an excitable boy. They let him out of the home now, and he just goes back and does something else heinous, and it's just, it never, there's not a lot of happy endings. I think there's happiness found in a lot of places on this album, but there aren't a lot of happy endings. It's kind of like it's a very dark version of like Springsteen's version of songwriting in the 70s. That's kind of what I compare it to most, because again, like the piano driven rock, you think of songs like Backstreets and stuff like that. It's like, I feel like that kind of production was something very in common in this time period. I think this was 78. And Springsteen, like Born to Run, was what, 73 or 74. So it's like there's a lot of like commonalities between a lot of artists in this time period. And I think the ones that stand out to me are artists like Springsteen, because it's like, a Springsteen song. So you also know a Zevon song. He wasn't maybe as prolific just because I think he wasn't around as long. I think that's a big reason why. But I think if he had remained healthy and continued to write, he's probably looked at in a much different light. I think because he was cut off before he really had a chance to get to the next generation and be popular with them. It's like he kind of faded pretty quickly in the consciousness of kind of the music industry. I think when you look at songs like, I forgot to pull my list up. I'll pull it up, but like Nighttime in the Switching Yard, like crazy good funk song on the same album as Rollin' the Headless Thompson Gunner. which is an incredible storytelling song. And they both fit in the same place because he loves places. He loves writing about different countries, different play, like especially Roland had I don't know how many countries he mentions in that song, but it's got to be like close to a dozen places that he went, and got killed and then went and killed someone else. It's just, there's so many jumps and leaps that he takes with the songwriting throughout this album that it feels manic in the best way.
To draw a line from Nebraska to this is like Excitable Boy is like Nebraska walked in wearing a really cool coat, like a really nice coat. And then underneath it was bare chested and just riddled with ringworm, just like disgustingly covered in ringworm. Like these songs, the incongruity between an incongruity that works, but between the music, this kind of like California pop scene structure to it. I mean, it's a guy who wrote for and with Linda Ronstadt and Jackson Brown, and there's a certain sound and a certain association there, but nobody was dealing in the subject matter that he deals with throughout his career, but especially on this album. The reason I draw the line from Nebraska is because it's the outlaws, the dope fiends, the hopeless romantics, the people who don't have a prayer. And like there was a lot of pain and a lot of pathos in it for Bruce, whereas like the Warren Zevon approach, I think, had this like gallows humor outlook on everybody's situation. Not that he couldn't be tender, but sometimes when he's being tender, it's inscrutable, like Accidentally Like a Martyr. I was reading some reviewers thing from way back in the day, Robert Christgau maybe, and he was like, somebody needs to tell me what Accidentally Like a Martyr means, and you're not allowed to call it Dylan-esque. And it's like, it's a fair question. It's a song that he says was inspired by the feeling he gets watching Martin Scorsese movies. So is there some big, deep, dark, larger thing? Or is it like one of the most unpredictable guys in the music business acting on impulse? Just totally running on instinct, but having that backing. Like he's a guy who studied under Igor Stravinsky. He had lessons with Igor Stravinsky. But then his dad's a crazy bookie. So like there's all these different influence that makes you a well-rounded, interesting, funny person who brings this very, very unique dynamic to this album that is all just like these little vignettes about the losers and the psychos and the lovesick crackheads and stuff. And it's like a very, very, very different flavor from most of what was going on in the mainstream at that time.
And it's like acerbic wit. He used like his turn of phrase is very good. Excuse me, some of the terminology that he uses. And the fact that we brought up Roll in the Headless Thompson Gunner a little bit deeper into that, like that's written, it's a fictionalized version, but like of some exploits that a friend of his, David Lindell, did. He met this guy in like Spain. He's like a former Black Ops guy. So he's taking some of this like real life stuff and employing this like ghoulish story where the guy gets his head blown off and comes back to haunt everyone. And you can still hear Roland's influence today. Patty Hearst heard the burst of Roland's Thompson gun and bought it. He ties it right in, like and that's how the song ends. Just bought it over. Like I think that like he must have cracked himself up so much writing these songs. And then you have someone like Jackson Brown, his friend, being like, these are really good songs. Like these have to get made. Jackson Brown was a huge lobbyist for him in his career. And Warren did go, up and down, label to label, but that kind of took place before this a little bit. And before his like big debut album, and then after this is when he kind of started to bounce around. We're kind of in the sweet spot here between the self-titled album, this album, and then Bad Luck Streak and Dancing School. Those three are like kind of all collective, but like Johnny Strikes Up the band, just talking about Johnny Carson, like and Excitable Boy, the happiest piano part and the most gruesome, grotesque lyrics. Yeah, Excitable Boy, yeah, like it's one of those things where, like, the music is like absolute perfection. The lyrics, once you like hear it and like pay attention. You're like, whoa, wait, what?
Yes.
And they're sung with like a weird, like aloof joy. And like Excitable Boy, when he would play it live, he would change the words. He didn't do it with a lot of his songs, but like he changed the words and he dumped the vodka all over his head, and he'd take his drink and he'd dump it on his head or whatever. Like he would just like change. He was a showman. He was a showman.
Yeah.
And again, he was in this era of, you know, your Springsteens and your singer-songwriters, and he just kind of carved out his own little niche space. Jackson Browne was always like the lovesick, you know, and almost like a great foil of Jackson Browne is the tremendous piano player who writes the songs about bones getting dug up.
Mhm.
And Headless Ghouls, the guy that was too good of a Thompson gunner, so they wanted him dead.
Mhm.
And the son of a bitch Van Owen blew off his head.
Yeah, really reminded me. It had the same, like, you listen to a song like "Running on Empty" by Jackson Browne, and the production, it sounds like it was made in the same space as Excitable Boy. And one thing that I think Jackson Browne is always known for is the production quality that he had. So, you know, a band like Steely Dan, as much as I, you know, dislike the music, like, that's something to acknowledge with them. You know, Toto, another band that does that. You know, there's certain bands that are known for being just absolutely perfect in the studio. They generally can translate that to the stage pretty well too, but known for being absolutely perfect in the studio. What's interesting about Warren Zevon is his stage show was the wild event. Like, it was never the same. He was absolutely out of his mind. Jackson Browne would tell him, like, you need to slow down. Like, you're gonna like kill yourself up there, basically. And you hear the album and it's perfect. Like, there's really nothing out of place on this entire album. Like, you can tell they did it till they got it right. But then you see his live show and it's like all hell is breaking loose, essentially. But you look at those other bands, like, did Steely Dan ever do that when they play live shows, or was it like real crisp and clean like it always was on the album? Same thing with Toto and all those other bands that were known for that, and like Dire Straits too. You know, it was just different. He was a rock star that he could do every type that you wanted to think of. Like, if you wanted him to play like Ramones style, like nasty garage punk, he could probably do that. If you wanted to play as complicated things as Springsteen was doing or as Meatloaf was doing, he could do that. And it's just, he was a very singular talent. And I think what drove people crazy about him is exactly what drove him to greatness.
And it's funny you bring
And
up
I
Toto
think-
because, oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm on a little bit of a delay. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say it's funny you bring up Toto because Jeff Porcaro is playing drums on Nighttime in the Switching Yard, Toto's drummer. So like, and then also Rick Marotta, who played on a bunch of Steely Dan tracks, is all over this on drums too on Veracruz and Lawyers, Guns and Money. So again, the intermingling in the 70s, all the studio musicians.
I think I would say this album is timeless, because I think when you listen to like any of these songs, you know, they could have been, like I said, you know, Excitable Boy could have been a Misfit song from the 80s, you know, or the 90s. You know, there's a lot of this stuff that was as shocking as things like Eminem was saying. You know, so there's a lot of things that you did not expect to hear in, I think, 1978 when this came out, because other bands were not doing that. They were not really using that type of language because they wanted everything to get on the radio. The things that had that kind of language did not. And there was no way that Excitable Boy was getting played on the radio at that time. Certainly wouldn't now. You know, the fact that Werewolves of London even got on the radio was pretty impressive, because, like, look at what that song is about. I mean, at one point he just literally just does a noise. Is like his hair was perfect. Dip. Like, that's part of, and that's like such a hooky thing, and that's what people remember about that song. And in the song, like, lyrically, when he's going through it, the cadence, it's a fun cadence, but it doesn't make any damn sense. Like, you have to listen to it a few times to know how he's saying it. It's not like you typically hear a song structured throughout its verses. he like piles stuff in really quickly sometimes, and then other ones he really stretches out. It's more about filling the time than it is filling the syllables. It's just a very interesting take on songwriting, and then literally he just howls like a wolf in the song. It was like a novelty song, like you'd hear the Big Bopper do in the 50s. But it was made in 1978 and got radio play in a time when guitars were really the driving force, and it was a piano song. It sounded like Meatloaf.
It's a novelty piano song about a werewolf that they wrote in 15 minutes.
Meant to have a dance element incorporated.
Yeah, and then it took them, it was like the hardest one to record because they couldn't get like the feel right for it. So it became like a total hassle in the studio. How is a song that took us 15 minutes to write? How can we not figure it the hell out? I mean, Jackson Browne was out playing it before it even got recorded by Warren. Like, and again, if there's a lot of artists out there like that have like a deep discography, but they have that one hit that everyone knows, and it's kind of funny that Warren's is this because like it's so tongue in cheek and it's so ridiculous and it's so catchy. Like it checks all the boxes. What I love for like the greater society to look back and be like have more knowledge of Desperados Under the Eaves off of his self-titled album. Yes, I would. I think that's one of like the best songs ever written. But like at least Warren got one, and it's this funny, silly song that will never fall off of the classic rock radio. It'll never fall off the scene. And it allowed him to keep like this, put him kind of on the map, allowed him to keep making records, keep making music. And it got people in the door at his shows because they wanted to hear the werewolf song. So, I mean, you had your diehards there, but it allowed him to start playing, kind of bigger venues. 59 takes, by the way. 59 takes to get the song down. And Jackson Browne, at the end of the day, they pulled their best Steely Dan. They said, you know what? Second take was the best.
Yeah.
I guess your second take was salvageable.
Yeah.
I mean, and that song is like a gateway into like you look at it as like it was kind of an albatross for Warren Zevon for a while. Then he kind of came around and was like, I mean, you can run from it or you can say I made this. And not necessarily like ride its coattails into the annals of history, but embrace this thing that you made and put like you wrote it in 15 minutes, but you put your effort into it. You played, 15 minutes of Michael Jordan's best ball. It's 15 minutes, but it's him giving it his all. So it's not a dumb song or a bad song. It's totally fucking weird. And it's like goofy on the surface in a lot of ways, but it is so goddamn infectious and it rocks hard. And quite frankly, like what happened to me earlier tonight, you walk into the kitchen with this blasting, nobody's familiar with the song. You just look them in the eyes and you mouth along to, you better stay away from him. He'll rip your lungs out, Jim. I'd like to meet his tailor. Like you hit that, you make eye contact with someone and you just hit that. They don't know what you're doing. They're charmed. They're utterly charmed.
Yeah, and like that, what a line! He'll rip your lungs out, Jim, just to make it rhyme.
Phenomenal.
I'd like to meet his tailor. Like what?
I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect. It's just so incredibly like simple, and you smile because it's funny, but it's not like poo-poo caca funny, like sophomoric poopy humor. It's just it's one of those things that just makes you smile. It's like Zappa, Baby Snakes. You got to be like real inside baseball to be in the room with someone when that line comes up. That is usually SEMTE, which stands for Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. Like, if you find another person in the wild who gets that reference, you might be twin flames and you might ruin each other's life. But in terms of like Werewolves of London, I think it's irresistible. I've never heard anyone talk trash about it except Warren Zevon.
That also, I don't know. Was there anything he ever made that he liked?
Probably stuff that didn't get released.
Yeah.
Also, we're talking about The Hair Was Perfect. Towards the end, Draw Blood. He's the master of these little interlines.
Mhm.
Roland Headless Thompson Gunner talking about the man.
Yeah.
He's the way that he phrases everything and then gives himself these little gaps. And like the last time through the chorus, he's just gonna do like a little
Mhm.
addition, a little extra line, a little extra flourish.
Does anybody mind terribly if we like kind of get into some songs? And anyone have like a specific song they want to talk about?
No, let's do it wherever you want to start.
So I mean, we literally could start right at the top with Johnny Strikes Up the Band.
Okay. Let's
But
do
we
it.
talked about that's kind of the album opener. Johnny Carson. Hey, Brian Wilson had a Johnny Carson song too, baby. Great song, but like really you want to get into it. Like the first thing that makes you kind of sit up. It certainly gave David Letterman the fabled wool boner, but Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner,
Mhm.
in terms of storytelling, in terms of the music with it too, because it's not, you forget that you're listening to a rock song. You kind of think you're listening to like an American folktale. And then you're like, oh, wait, yeah, this is set to music. And it's 1978. And this is on
Mhm.
a vinyl record that I'm listening to in my home. I'm not like going downriver with Roland and Van Owen and the other boys. Um, it's just like that trick that it pulls off where you forget you're listening to a song and you're
Mhm.
immersed in an experience. And
Contains
it's
one of his funniest moments too, when he in Van Owen blew off his head. Then he goes, "Rolling the Headless Thompson Gunner."
Yep, it's like Tanner was saying, then you just make that little change going forward. Like, oh shit, it's like you get handed your notes. You're like, oh shit, he's headless. Rolling the Headless Thompson Gunner. We can still make it work, even though he's headless. Like, very clever, very fun.
And then the line delivery of he found him in Mombasa in a bar room drinking gin. Like you can like see it. You can see it in your mind's eye. Like you can like see the camera panning in. It's like it's so ridiculously cinematic, this song. And it kind of like it's not like the fastest tempo. It just kind of like drones on, but it doesn't matter because you're so locked in once it starts. And then by the time it ends and he's making all these jokes about all these other violent things that have happened. And he's like, yeah, Roland was there. He was in all these places. Patty Hearst. Um, it's just like that. That's the one. Like the first time I heard it, I was like, okay, like I got to get through the album to get the full listen in, and we're going right back. We're going right back to this.
Mhm.
And I hope there's a Wikipedia article about it that I'm going to devour it while I listen to it. And wouldn't you know it? We got purple
Oh, yeah.
links on the computer, folks.
So I just counted. It's 13 different places that he mentions in that song. Insane. It makes them all work.
In 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Yeah.
It does. It's almost like Tolkien-esque, where it's like, you know, in Mordor and blah, 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 like
Yeah.
incorporating these real places, but making it have like this sense of scale and like they've been everywhere. The things they've seen, they literally know where all the bodies are buried. Here's one more, but you're not going to get Roland because Roland's, you know, essence as the greatest Thompson gunner is more powerful even in death than what the
Yeah.
CIA is going to try to do in life. It's just like there's that great sense of scale, that great sense of storytelling. And then also like musically, like I agree with Tanner where like it kind of falls into a rhythm and then we get to the chorus. I don't know if you guys would like agree in calling it like the bridge, but like rolling the headless Thompson gunner,
Mhm.
Norway's brave it till evens up the score.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. That's the
Yeah.
moment in the song where Warren Zevon is like, well, let's stunt on him musically a little bit.
Yes.
Let's just deliver something. This is what you've gotten used to. And I'm going to take this brief digression to make this so musically and harmonically interesting for you, furthering the narrative. You can still see his headless body stalking through the night and the muzzle flash of Roland's Thompson gun. Paint me that picture, Warren. Oh,
Mhm.
wait, you don't have to. You did it with your words, my man. It's like no wonder it's David Letterman's favorite song, and everyone's like, "Why do you like the Thompson Gunner song?" It's like, have you heard it? Have you
Mhm.
listened to it? It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Have you heard it, and do you get it? Because you can listen to
Yes.
it and be like, I don't know, I don't get it. Like, well, sucks to suck because you're missing out.
Yeah, it's great. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I see it. I see it like the same animation style that they use in The Wall, the Wall movie by Pink Floyd, like that animation style where they do the hammers and then some of the war scenes and stuff like that. Like that's the animation style I see this song in, and it's fantastic. It's really one of those things where if you get it, you really get it. There's a lot of people that just aren't going to get it. Rolling the Headless Thompson Gunner's not going to do it for them, and thankfully, I probably am not going to run into too many of them in my walk of life.
It's just too weird. It's too weird for some people, and that's not me gassing Warren Zevon out and be like, "This is borderline experimental," because it's not incomprehensible. But some people are like, "I don't go to music for my weird," and that's valid. That's totally valid. But then you can't be like, "This is a sucky, shitty song." Never heard anyone say that. I'm not saying it. But I can understand certain people's aversion. Like, I don't want Bloodhound Gang. I certainly don't want Weird Al. I don't come for weird and to music for weird and funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be kind of a hard entry point to Warren Zevon for some people, whereas it makes perfect sense for like the archetype I'll call the Warren Zevon dad. I got a Warren Zevon dad. He fancies himself Warren Zevon. He gets credit for liking Warren Zevon and showing me Warren Zevon, but he thinks he's Warren Zevon and he's not Warren Zevon. I've watched this man slip on a tomato and go down like he had been shot, holding his Achilles, screaming in the middle of a Shaw's grocery store. I don't see Warren Zevon doing that unless he was on crack. Therefore, my father loses his qualifications to be like Warren, but he's a Warren Zevon dad. He lives on the edge in his mind. He understands all the conceptual stuff. He respects you enough to know that you will too, and that you'll get something out of it. And then he's going to go fart so hard his back goes out. That's a Warren Zevon dad. And it's not a bad dad to have.
I wish Warren Zevon was around to write a song about that.
I came to finish paying my
he'd make it good. He sure would. So Excitable Boy, the title song of the album, and it's interesting that he chose this song as the title song because musically it is the most accessible song. Like this is the one that's going to sound like the most familiar to your ears. It's got that like kind of doo-wop 50s and 60s sound to it. It's the sound of the song. This is such a classic example of like the sound of the song not matching the content of the song. At first it does because it's like, oh, we're not a big deal at first, and then very quickly we get to they go to prom and tragedy strikes. But ooh, excitable boy, and it sounds so happy that if you're not paying attention, like at its surface level, that's just a great little pop song. Nice little chorus, like just really, really fantastic. And then you listen to the lyrics and you're like, what connections were missing in Warren Zevon that this song was able to get made and sung so sincerely and hidden behind such a like sugary sweet facade.
And I'll go ahead and Excitable Boy, but also all the other songs before it and after it. But with the inclusion of Spotify going to lossless, and if you're listening on good Bluetooth headphones, you can get close to lossless. You're like I'm picking up so much more piano stuff and so much more like second guitar stuff in the background. And the piano part, the piano part on Excitable Boy is so fucking good. I will never get over it. The first time I heard it to the 800th time I've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Like you said, it's musically accessible. And then it's like super bleak verse, sung kind of happily, super happy chorus with like the rah backup singers and stuff. Something out of like Little Shop of Horrors, which fits the content of the song. And then we go back into like the sadistic, the macabre, the blood-soaked Zevon, but he always does it with a smirk and a smile and like a gin and tonic in his hand, you know, like that's, and then by the end of the song, you're like, Excitable Boy should probably be locked up for life.
Yeah.
What are
But
we
after 10
doing
long
here?
years, they left him out of the home.
Yeah, he's only in the home for 10 years, and he goes right back to being too excitable.
And the piano riff, like he's just an excitable boy. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Grease Lightning. It's like such a happy, like boppy song. And it is just horrendously dark.
Yeah, whackity schmackity do.
And if you blink, it's over. It's less than 3 minutes long. It's
Yeah.
closer to 2.5 minutes. It's 2:40. Like it's in and out. There's no frills really. The production sounds amazing, but like it's a pretty basic song. I mean, the whole album is 31.5 minutes, and it's 9 songs.
Nice tight little run.
Nice tight little package. And I will tell you what, it is almost a no skip for me. I got one I don't like.
Ooh, are you gonna tell me Accidentally Like a Martyr is a skip for you?
Fuck no. Absolutely
Okay.
not. I think Tanner knows what my skip is, probably.
I know it, and I
Don't tell me it's Nighttime in the Switching Yard.
Fuck no.
Keep going.
I heard Woodrow Wilson's guns.
Veracruz, no.
I really don't like Veracruz that much.
Oh my god, this album is a 100% no skip. But let's hold on a second. So we talked about Werewolves of London, so we can probably. Do we want to skip that one, or do y'all have any more to say?
No,
okay. So
I've said my piece.
Let's talk about Accidentally Like a Martyr, because the line "the hurt gets worse and the heart gets harder," in the way he delivers that, I am just not sure that there is anything more like heartbreaking than that. Just truly, truly great moment in songwriting for me.
I'll agree with you there, and I will say the background vocals in the chorus are so haunting and beautiful, and it conjures up what he did on Desperados Under the Eaves as well, which Carl Wilson sang on. It's just like beautiful, haunting, awful. It makes you feel. For all like we're like, oh, it's a Excitable boy, oh, Roland killed people with the werewolf, Johnny Carson, and then all of a sudden just like, nope, boom, slow knife to the heart with this one. Should have done, we all sigh. That's the one that gets me. That line is it just rips my heart out. It comes out of nowhere, and I thought when I listened to it like the first couple times before the deep dive, I thought this had Jackson Browne's fingerprints all over it. I was like, okay. And nope, straight up Warren with no other co-writing credits for anybody else. One of 3 on the album where it's just Warren. And you get Carla Bonoff on the Bat Harmony vocals on it as well. Little Meatloaf cross-pollination there. But yeah, Accidentally Like a Martyr is like, that's kind of Warren also being like, I can do this. I can do this too. I can do this as good or better than anybody else out there. I can sing Excitable Boy, and I can make you cry 2 tracks later. It's also a perfect, from back in the day when you used to have to get up and flip the record. What a way to end side 1. Like if you end side 1 with Werewolves of London, okay, maybe like, I don't know, Roland could be a good ender, but also you want to get Roland in early. You want to get the people in. Accidentally Like a Martyr, great way to end side 1.
Yeah, and I don't think looking at the track list as it's laid out, I wouldn't play with this at all. This is like we talk about the art of the album order, and this one gets it right. And I think as far as Accidentally Like a Martyr, it's like you said, I can do this too. I can write, and he rubbed the pot roast all over his chest, and we all have a good time with that. But then something as like simple or profound as never thought I'd have to pay so dearly for what was already mine. I look at that and I'm like, holy shit, that's a bitch smack of truth. And then you look at the chorus, like accidentally like a martyr. And like, if you want to be pedantic about it and break it down, it's like, well, you can't be a martyr on accident. Like they can make you a martyr someone else can make you a martyr for a cause after the fact, but you can't accidentally be a martyr. You have to elect to become a martyr. So in this situation somehow
There was a
done
recent
that to
event
yourself.
where I don't think that person elected to become a martyr.
That's why I'm saying is after the fact, people are like, you are accidentally like a martyr for real now. But in this context, it's like he's lived to tell the tale, obviously. So he's like, I didn't mean to martyr myself. That was a total accident. And as a result of whatever this is that he gave up, whatever this is that has been done, the hurt gets worse and the heart grows harder. It's not an I will carry this forever and it's bittersweet, or I will persevere someday, or this is making me a better person. It's like, I got a piece of lead lodged in my belly, and if you try to move it, I'll die. So it's just gonna sit here and hurt for the rest of my life. And for as like bitter as that sentiment is, and as like heavy as that sentiment is, it's just this beautiful light, and not like insubstantial light, but just like it moves. It's like such a graceful song. Like you watch someone who can really dance, and you're like, yeah, whoa, boner, full mast. This has got that same fluidity. And again, listening to it in lossless on good headphones, wild, absolutely wild.
Yeah.
And it is a Scorsese movie. If that's what he had in his head when he wrote it, he succeeded, because I can close my eyes and be like, yeah, I see a million
I wonder,
Scorsese shots.
did Scorsese ever put it in a movie?
No.
He should.
I think did they ever connect on that, Tanner? Do you know about that lore?
I don't think so. I don't believe he dedicated "Stand in the Fire," the live album, to Scorsese, and he uses Werewolves of London in Color of Money.
Ah, yes, you're right.
But besides that, I don't think there's like a a hard connection that was ever made. Like I don't think Marty ever said like, oh yeah, don't know why Marty sounds like that.
Marty, listen to you, Mr. Name
Yeah.
Dropper.
Yeah, I don't think Marty like
Oh, Mr. First.
My good friend Marty.
Yeah, his friends call him Marty. Marty Scorsese.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, there's really, it's just, the way that song, especially after, you get a song like Excitable Boy and Rollin' the Headless Thompson Gunner and Werewolves of London, and these songs are kind of like either really peppy or just kind of ridiculous, and then you get a song like Accidentally Like a Martyr, and that's as serious as it gets. Like there's no fantastical like imagination required for that song or anything like that. It's just like a very straight up, very heartbreaking song. And then you go another hard left from there to Nighttime in the Switching Yard. Like, where did this funk come from with Warren Zevon? Because this was incredible. I love this song.
It gets you going. Again, great way to start off a side of an album. You put that needle down and it just goes right into it. It's not like the most like lyrically complex thing that he's ever done, but it doesn't have to be, because this is one where like the music really drives it. Like the music drives it. Porcaro on the drums drives it. The little do da da at the ending, and then Porcaro switches to the ride cymbal halfway through. Like it's this one is like the music is the tune. Like the lyrics are fine and everything. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but like the music is the tune. The way that it kicks back in with like the little the bass line, a little fill to kick it back in every time. Like this, this is the music speaks louder than the lyrics on this one, for sure.
Yeah, this is classic like nonsense funk lyrics too. That's why it's great.
Well, and it's like, album full of parallels. We've got Brian Wilson and Warren Zevon both with a Johnny Carson song. And now here and on Shake Your Booty, Frank Zappa, we have disco songs that were made tongue in cheek and turned out to be better than like 90% of like radio friendly disco of the day. And this one certainly like lands way more funky. Zappa's was mostly like, you're stupid if you listen to this, whereas Warren Zevon, which was most of his music, was you're stupid if you listen to my music, let alone anything any other idiot's written. Whereas I think with Warren Zevon, it's just like, this is the sound. I hear it, I get it, and I'm gonna make my own, and it's gonna fucking absolutely rule because it's not, again, like goofy. It's not like a lyrical head scratcher. The music's the thing. Just the way that it drives a lot, like dun 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 dun. It's got that kind of, especially because of Porcaro, that train like drive, not like a chugga 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 chugga, but it's very very lively and it never slows down. It's just got like this punishing trajectory, but it's so funky along the way. One of the, like, I think it's a great way to like Tanner says, you flip the record. This is the first thing that you come to. Um, it's just a great way to start outside too. And then this is kind of where I get waffled a little bit because it's like coming out of that, especially once you know the album. Veracruz is like, you're having a great time and you're dancing, and someone is like, you want to keep having a great time, you got to quit slamming those daiquiris and you got to have a little glass of water. And you're like, I don't dislike water. Water's good for me. Water's got a place here, but water's water. And I just don't necessarily care about the Woodrow Wilson's guns. Like, something about it from the jump to me feels more artificial than anything else on the album. In an album that has a certain like ironic distance from certain subjects and that to others is like right up close, this just feels like Warren's very distant from the subject matter. I feel distant from the subject matter. It's not bad. It's not like patently unlistenable, but when I'm not doing this album with friends for the review, if I don't catch Veracruz, if I catch Veracruz right in time, I'm going to slide on past and act like I made a mistake. If it starts going, you let it go. But if you can just kind of like Iggy your way out, I might Iggy my way out and shave it off. I don't know.
This was his attempt to be Gordon Lightfoot, I think, and I like this song a lot. I think it's really, I think probably also because I stayed in Texas. Like, you lived down here for a bit, Alex, but like I stayed down here, so I've gotten a real healthy dose of some Southern history down here, and so it's like these are things I've heard about, and so it to me, it's like this is like the Texas version of the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and it's another one of his songs where you get just a different side of him. Like, you get a softer side of him, because I think what Warren Zevon is looked at as, Jackson Browne is looked at as like the singer songwriter, the long haired handsome guy, and then Warren Zevon, I think, was always looked at as like the ADHD kid, just like the little meme that's like, the fuck yeah, concrete. Like, that's what Warren Zevon has been kind of looked at as. So these kind of songs, I almost love that he does them, because it's maybe some people like you see it as too fake, because like obviously he wasn't there for this, and like it's not as fantastical that some of the other songs like that he can feel like he's putting more of himself into. Like, this is, I can see why you don't like it, but to me, it's like another one. It's up there with Accidentally Like a Martyr for me. Like, as far as those kind of softer songs like that, I really appreciate that he did them, but I can see lyrically where you might like see that and kind of not be as into it.
Well, and I don't want to like accuse him of being like fake about it. It's not that it's fake to me. And lyrically, it's not lazy and it's not bad. Like, it relays a story. So it's not fake and it's not a lack of effort or a lack of quality. It's just, for me, it's as far removed emotionally for Warren. Like, when he says like, I heard Maria crying, I swear it was my father's voice, something like that should feel very emotional.
Is this what Dr. would write if he was Warren Zevon?
No, I'll tell you what he would write. I'll put the man, I'll take a brief digression, put the man on blast. His breakup song is My Opening Farewell by Jackson Browne. And that is a fucking absolutely brutally depressing song. What an unbelievable we call it a wrist opener, folks. Like, you listen to that song and you just want someone to flatten your head with a rock.
Is
And
that how he would tell you that another one bit the dust?
I would just that's the thing is, like, there would be times where I would walk in and I would just hear like, suddenly it's so hard to I'm like, oh fuck, my opening farewell. Oh no.
And the thing is, like, I like the song too. I I appreciate kind of the swing that it takes from nighttime to Veracruz and then to tenderness. I like the I feel like Jorge Calderon wrote a lot of this. I don't know. I know that Warren liked like history and everything like that, and he was a history buff. But I think that like him and Jorge got together and they said, okay, what's something that we can cook up, get some Spanish lyrics going, which Jorge sings. He sings the bridge in Spanish, but yeah, I like it. I like it's got the traditional Spanish instruments on it. The one thing that I can't quite wrap my head around again is like the POV of I heard Maria crying. Like, is it, and then someone called Maria's name. I swear it was my father's voice. Like, is it like, so it's someone that's like living it. It's a fictional character that's living it. That's living the fall of Veracruz. Okay, like I'm cool with that. I don't think he played this song live very much, if ever, though.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think this made it into the repertoire.
And I think honestly we are thinking about it too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you take this one at surface level and just how lovely it sounds, it's a great experience. But I think we can talk about Tenderness on the Block, because this song, it's another one where it's like you don't get quite as far into the eek, yikes, Warren Zevon lyrics on this one, but there's certainly some things where but I think this is a very, very honest song about like what probably was a real experience for a lot of people. And the way he sings it, it's something like, and she'll find tenderness on the block. But there's just like such a menace to some of the lyrics and like what you kind of know is like between the lines here on this song.
When you talk about Tanner earlier, you were like, "Oh, I thought this had Jackson Brown's smudgy little fingerprints all over it." Welcome to Jackson Brown's smudgy little fingerprints,
Yeah, exactly. And even the fact that it starts with "Mama," like that is Jackson Brown.
Yep.
How many Jackson Brown songs have the word "mama" in it? Like,
don't go singing about mama again.
Yeah. But again, it does the nice bounce thing where like verse 1 is like talking about like from like the mom's perspective, verse 2 is the dad's perspective. We're like changing it up a little bit, and it's almost like there's like a hopefulness to this. You can look at it two ways. It's true, she'll be streetwise, she'll be fine, or that's just what the parents are telling themselves. What is it? Is she going out and is she going to have sexual intercourse for crack? And they're like, we hope. Nope, she's gonna find tenderness on the block. Or like, is like the daughter actually like, she's smart, she's our kid, she's gonna be fine, we don't need that, like we don't need to worry about it. She was wide-eyed, now she's streetwise. Like, again, he changes it just a little bit. The first chorus, wide eyes, she'll be streetwise, and at the very end, she was wide-eyed, now she's streetwise. So like even like the daughter character goes through like a progression through the song as well. And again, the piano part on this is absolutely fantastic. The piano part makes the song. And yeah, it's another it's got the word tenderness in the title, but it's a very tender song. It feels tender, and it's more hopeful than Accidentally Like a Martyr, which is really like depressing, sad. The sun refused to shine. Like, not the sun don't shine. The sun refuses to shine.
Said fuck no.
Yeah, and this is like, oh, I know how much it hurts to see her go. Like, she's got a mind of her own, She's grown up. Like, she's grown up. So I really like the angle of just like, the parent, like your daughter's old enough to start dating. This is a song for you to like help this. We know what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're going to draw the line back to Bruce Springsteen in this situation, he's on the other side of the fence writing his song, being like, can't wait for that young girl to come hang out with me. I'm taking her on a ride in my Cadillac out of this steel town. Fuck you, Warren. But it's you get a lot of like subject matter variety and a lot of relatable stories and a lot of fantastical stories. And this is just one of those contractions. I especially like it coming off the back of Veracruz, where you just kind of bring it down street level. It's like one perspective, one house, one block, one street. And it's just kind of nice that the album can like expand and contract like that in its scope, and it can be serious, it can be funny, it can be fables, it can be stories of real people here, then, now, forever. But there really is just like there's so many different little treats. They all feel cohesive on the same album, which I really enjoy. They don't just feel kind of like a mixtape. And then you have to bring it on home strong. And he manages to stick the landing in the best way possible. To me, this feels like the only one you could have ended the album with.
Mm-hmm.
This has album ender punch in its DNA. Lawyers, Guns, and Money.
Yes, this is the quintessential Warren Zevon song to me. I think this incorporates so many parts of what makes Warren Zevon great. Is you get these this very point of view type of story, and it's a story that doesn't have a happy ending, but it has the really rock and roll side of Warren Zevon. It has the great piano side of Warren Zevon, and it's a very conversational song. I think that's why it's so good, is because he's sitting there, like, you can imagine you're sitting with somebody at a bar and they're telling you this story. He's like, well, went home with a waitress the way I always do, and how was I to know she was with the Russians too? It's like he's always just like saying, I'm innocent. Like, how was I to know that she was with the Russians? Like, I couldn't have told you by this bar that I was in, or these people I was playing poker with, or any of this. Like, how could I have known this situation was going to go poorly? And this is that like classic tongue-in-cheek version of Warren Zevon too. It's like it's kind of got everything that you like about Warren Zevon wrapped up in a nice little bow.
Yeah, it absolutely rips.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about like how in the era of like rock driven stuff, this is again, we'll just Warren being like, I got a guy that can play guitar riffs. You want to hear some fucking guitar riffs? Okay, dude, we're gonna blast the doors off with this song. And again, we talked about his rhythm and the way that he like sings lines through certain songs earlier. And like this one, the verses are very short lyrically.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very short. He gets in, he gets out quick. Like you could even like what even is the structure of the song? Like it's just like verse, chorus, end. Like what is the ending? The chorus? Is it just another like? It's a straight line. It tells the story. This song live, some of the live versions they did of this song are off the walls, epic. And again, for the first time I heard it, or the first time I committed to memory, was listening to Meatloaf absolutely destroy it, crush it live, and then in like a different way too, like Meatloaf put his spin on it. But this is like, I don't know if there's a song where Warren rocks harder across his discography, where like it rocks harder.
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. Like I was looking through some stuff earlier. The closest thing that I could
come up with
covers? The closest thing I can come up with is the Raspberry Beret cover with Hindu Love Gods. That's the closest thing I could come up with.
Yeah.
Where like it's like a ripper, it's a rocker, and that wasn't even intended to be released.
They were writing smooth music.
Yeah, Envoy has some like rock elements to it, but nothing like punches you in. Like this song like punches you in the face.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, boom.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like
It's in the snarl of it. Lawyers,
Yeah.
guns, and money.
Yep.
Yeah, Dad, get me out of this.
Yeah, the
Yep.
3 things that can get me out of any jam: lawyers, guns, and money. Whatever the situation, it's those 3 things.
Yeah.
And like the song has that feeling to it.
And the way he does the down on my luck, it's just such a sarcastic, like snarly way to say it. It's just such a snobby, like you can tell this is a little spoiled brat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Yeah.
and he talks about like there's little wink and a nod to the Cold War too, because it's like I was gambling in Havana and got with a Russian girl, you know, and it's just like there's so many little details in his songwriting that I think you don't have to pay attention to, but when you do, it just makes it that much better. And then he talks about how he was hiding in Honduras, which was notoriously another place where when the shit hit the fan, that's where they all ran off to. So what that tells me too is he got into even more shit after being in Havana. So he didn't learn his lesson either. You know, so it's just like there's so many ways to read into the song, and that's what makes it so good to go back to again and again. But just hearing it as a classic rock song on the radio, it's also fantastic. That's like the beauty of Warren Zevon is it's kind of it's as deep as you want to take it, but anywhere you find is going to be good.
And like like he's like the spoiled kid getting stuck, which again could be a callback because again like Warren's dad connected.
Mhm.
There's like a story behind it, but like it's kind of unfounded. I don't know if you guys read like that. Like he was in Cuba with his manager in a taxi, and the taxi driver was like, "I got to make a quick stop," and like ran to a house and ran out with a woman that was the cabbie's sister that had been kidnapped. So he like ran in, saved her. They drove off. They're getting chased by the kidnappers in a car. And Warren's manager said, "Call my dad and tell him to send some lawyers." Warren replied, "Yeah, and some guns and money."
Huh.
So that's like the lore kind of behind the song. But and again, if that's the story of the lore or whatever, like that sounds like an epic movie-esque scene.
Mhm.
And the music that's written to the lyrics definitely conjure up a chase scene or something of that nature, you know, high stakes something or other.
Yeah, you got caught cheating gambling in Monaco or something like that.
Yep, exactly. And you're on the run now. You're running away,
Yeah.
you know. You're hiding in Honduras. You're a desperate man.
Yeah,
And he changes his tone, you know. Verse 3, "I'm the innocent bystander, and somehow I got stuck," you know. And by verse 4, he's like, I'm fucked. The shit has hit the fan. I'm in
fucked up
Honduras.
bad.
I'm desperate. Yeah. He says, "Send lawyers, guns, and money" again. Like, I need him here now. Like,
yeah.
send him here.
Yeah, the shit has hit the fan. And the way, and just another callback to Meatloaf, the way that Meatloaf would belt that, "the shit has hit the fan" lyric, that, whoo, buddy, that's different. That's different.
It's just like a great chaotic way to end the album. So like it puts a punctuation point on it for the listening experience, but it very wisely is this open-ended lawyers, guns, and money. Just like we could keep going. Like these adventures are going to keep going until the lawyers, guns, and money run out. Until Dad stops sending these things to bail me out. This is just gonna keep going. And it's those little clever things that you're not thinking about, that you didn't notice, but your brain did, that leaves you satisfied. You had a whole experience, but it doesn't feel like it like ended so abruptly or definitively. Album doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't try to get too cute. It's just Warren Zevon doing what Warren Zevon does best, pulling out every tool in the toolbox. Doesn't have to get like overly conceptual, doesn't have to get overly ridiculous and crazy, but can go to fun places and take something like this piano driven rock sound and explore it and use it in different ways and make One of the most entertaining albums we ever covered on this show, one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life. The idea of the perfect album or the best ever written or whatever, I think that's subjective. So once again, I'm willing to say, like, this is one of the best albums, pound for pound, ever written.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a true classic in every sense of the word. Absolutely recommend that you folks go out there and listen to it immediately. Like, if you haven't already, if you're not familiar with it already, it is phenomenal. Tanner, once again, we thank you for being on the show, being on the pod. We love doing these on the record episodes with you. Are there any albums that you're just dying to do in 2026?
I got a little list going. I mean, I could pull from it right now, or we could keep them in suspense. But I love hopping on and doing these deep dives. And the term that I like to use for albums like this, the albums like list exist in the rarefied air. For me personally, a desert island album.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is an absolute desert island album for me, and I look forward to discussing some more coming up. I mean, I could toss some specifics out if we want to. I got the little list here.
Let's hear it. Let's get the people excited for next year.
I could do it. It's a lot of stuff you're not going to like, Jeff. I would say like Billy Joel, The Stranger.
Okay.
I think that's another like perfect album, desert island album. I would go back to a band that we talked about a little bit that just got back together and is touring, the Temperance Movement. Any of their 3 albums that they've released in their short run would be spectacular. I would also be totally down to do like a couple episodes where we like it's one band, but we kind of touch on 2, like doing the first 2 Oasis albums, the 2 big swingers, the big hit makers,
Supersonic and What's the Story, Morning Glory.
Yeah, definitely maybe What's the Story, Morning Glory, but yeah, like those 2, which puts them in the stratosphere. And I also another little double thing, Bare Naked Ladies. Gordon and Stunt would be 2 that I would absolutely love to do like a deep dive on. Also a band that's really moved into my wheelhouse over the years, and I would love to do any of their records would be Guster. Seeing them so many times and everything. I think a lot of their other stuff, people just can consider them to be the bongo band, the joint smoking bongo band.
I'm pretty familiar with Guster.
Like the general public, like if we could do a deep dive on like Evermotion, for instance, where they totally reinvented themselves. They worked with a new producer who unfortunately passed away, Richard Swift, who was a member of the Shins at the time. You guys started to put in some different production elements. They got them to work outside their comfort zone. But that's just a couple off the top. Just a few that you could be seeing here on the channel in 2026.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think there were some good potential ones there, and I think it's good to expand our reach as well. Alex, how many episodes do we have left this year?
As of when this airs, there are going to be 2 episodes, with the caveat that the last one's probably getting split into 2 videos because it's usually pretty long. But we have 2 episodes left. One of them, we're going to do something a little different. We'll reveal that format when the time is ready. But then, of course, the big to-do is our end of the year award show, the best and worst of 2025. And it is to coincide with the 200th episode of the podcast proper. Canonically, wink, asterisk. As far as the way we number this shit, this is the 200th episode. Wink, wink. Hello, Carol Burnett's granddaughter. And we're so excited. It's going to be the biggest blowout we've ever done on this show. The biggest blowout since the million kids shit in at the Huggies factory. You won't believe your ears. You won't believe the sights and the sounds and the smells. And you just want to see it all, smell it all, taste it all, don't you? You like that one, don't you, Jeff? You like the shit in. And you can get your shit in.
That took me a second. I'm sorry.
See, folks, this is what you can expect. This is the kind of gaiety, jocularity, whatever you'd like to call it, that we do on this channel. So youtube.com/C/out on that line, folks. If you're listening by podcast, get over there and subscribe. If you're here and you're new to the channel, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, the thumbs up to like the video, and for God's sakes, leave a comment. We're not going to take up too much more of your time. You have your instructions. You know what it is you need to do. The end of the year is coming. Give us your picks for the best and worst. Let us know what your takes are as we coast on in to the end of another year at youtube.com/C/out on that line.
That was beautifully done. And folks, until next time.